All right, take a look at the device you're watching this on right now. It's an incredible piece of engineering, right? But, without one crucial, totally invisible element, it's just a useless box. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that element, software. We're talking about the instructions, the magic code that turns all this powerful hardware into the tools that, well, pretty much run our world.
So think about it. You've got this amazing machine in front of you, a complex collection of silicon, metal, and plastic. It has all this potential. But on its own, it's basically a very, very expensive paperweight. It can't do a thing. So what's that missing ingredient? What's the spark that actually brings it to life?
Well, the answer is something called a computer program. At its very core, a program is just a list of instructions, a recipe. Imagine your computer's hardware is a giant pile of raw building materials. You've got wood, nails, concrete, the whole shebang. The program is the architect's blueprint. It's what tells those raw materials how to become a house or a bridge or a skyscraper. Without that program, the hardware has absolutely no purpose.
Okay, now, not all software is the same, not by a long shot. In the world of computer science, we basically split everything into two major kingdoms, and they do very, very different jobs. Getting this distinction is really the first key to understanding how your devices actually work under the hood. So this brings us to the two big sides of the software coin. First up, you have system software. Now, this is the stuff working tirelessly behind the scenes. It's the stage crew, the building's foundation, the plumbing and electricity. Think of your operating system, Windows, Mac OS, Android. You don't really use it to write an email, but without it, absolutely nothing else would even turn on. Then, on the other side, you have application software. These are the stars of the show. This is your web browser, your favorite game, that photo editor you love. These are the actual tools built for you, the user, to get specific things done.
So how do these two types of software, the system and the application, actually work with the physical machine? Because they don't just exist in a vacuum, right? They're in this crucial symbiotic relationship that is literally the basis of all modern computing.
And this partnership is absolutely essential. You need both, hardware and software, period. But here's where it gets really, really cool. The same piece of hardware can be completely transformed by different software. I mean, your phone is the perfect example of this. The physical device in your hand doesn't change, but by downloading new apps, you can turn it into a movie studio, a musical instrument, or a high-powered scientific calculator. The hardware is the canvas. The software is the endless variety of paintings you can create on it. And this highlights a super important point about the cost of all this. You buy your laptop once, right? That's a one-time expense. But the software that makes it truly powerful, that Office suite, those creative tools, even the constant security updates, that often involves paying over and over again. This completely changes how we have to think about the total price of the technology we use every day. So, if software is this ongoing thing, where do we get it? This brings us to the real-world choices we have for getting our hands on it. Because, as it turns out, there isn't just one way to get the tools you need. And what you see here is a classic trade-off. On one hand, you've got pre-written, off-the-shelf software. Think Microsoft Office or Adobe Photoshop. It's way less expensive because the cost to develop it is spread out across millions of users. But on the other hand, maybe a huge company needs a very specific program just for them. Well, they'll pay a lot more to have custom software built from the ground up. It's kind of like the difference between buying a suit off the rack and having one perfectly tailor-made. But wait, beyond buying software that's either pre-made or custom-built, there's this huge, incredibly influential third category that has totally reshaped the digital world. And that's public domain software, or what's much more commonly called open source software. This is a whole different ballgame. It's often completely free to use. But more importantly, the blueprint, the actual source code, is available for anyone to see, to modify, and to improve upon. It's built by a global community of developers, not just one company trying to make a profit. I mean, this is the philosophy that powers massive chunks of the internet and gives us amazing tools like the Linux operating system and the Firefox web browser. So after all that, from the basic definition to the two kingdoms and the different ways we get software, what's the most important thing to walk away with? What's the core idea about the software that runs our lives? Let's just boil it all down to these three simple ideas. First, software is the blueprint that gives a chunk of metal and plastic a purpose. Second, always remember the two kingdoms. System software runs the machine itself, and application software is for running your tasks. And finally, remember that the hardware you buy is just the beginning. It's the software that unlocks its true, ongoing power and capability.
And this kind of leads me to one last thing to leave you with. We've talked about software being a continuing expense. Well, as that model shifts almost entirely to subscriptions for everything, from your music to your word processor, what does that mean for us? Are we moving away from actually owning our digital tools and just renting them? It's a really fascinating question about where all this tech is headed. Thanks for tuning in.